Denise. Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. Denise. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party.
I gotta say, I feel like we're besties now after this. What's up, guys? It's Denise Salcedo. Hey there, everyone. What is up? Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. I'm your host, Denise Salcedo, and today we are talking about AEW Dynamite Road Rager, June 15, 2022. We are on our way to Forbidden Door, just 11 days away, and we got tons of news coming out of this episode of Dynamite, especially given that we are just a couple of days away from Forbidden Door, this big pay-per-view. So we got a lot of new matches announced for the show. We got some new stuff going on. We got plenty to get into here today. Before we get into everything, before we talk about what happened on today's show, just a friendly reminder that this is a very interactive show. Please take part in the chat, give some love, let me know what's going on, send me your thoughts on the show, all of that good stuff. If you want to make sure your question, comment, or statement gets read on this show, 100% guaranteed, you can go ahead and send in a super chat. If you do send in a super chat, not only does your question, comment, or statement get read on this podcast, but on top of that, you do help me out since F4W Online does allow me to keep 100% of the proceeds after YouTube takes their cuts from super chats. So if you want to help me out, send one in. They keep me funded. They keep me going, etc. But we'll get to that in just a second. Welcome, everybody. Whew. It's been a crazy day, everyone. A crazy day. I feel I've been sitting here on my computer all day, and every single hour, I feel like there's just been so much happening just throughout the day, and the day has flown by really fast. But let's get to this. We got our first super chat of the day. This is from Nick Grasso, who says, "Really? How many times do the Young Bucks have to win the tag team titles? I think they are jumping the gun on Toni versus Rosa, and I wonder if it has anything to do with the accusations against Thunder Rosa." First and foremost, I don't think it has anything to do with that. I feel the reason we are getting Thunder Rosa versus Toni Storm is because they teased it, and they teased it I think it was, last week that we were talking about this tease. They teased it, and this seems like the natural progression to go now, because Toni Storm is the hot new thing coming into AEW, and they're clearly pushing her, etc. Is it too soon? We'll talk about that in just a second, because Thunder Rosa's reign and this match coming up makes me feel like we are going to be seeing a brand new champion, and it kind of makes me think damn, maybe, it kind of seeing that this match was put, I feel like Toni Storm is going to become the new champion, but at the same time, I'm it's too soon for Thunder Rosa to lose her title, her reign hasn't been long enough, not much has been done, so I wouldn't want her to lose her championship, just because I feel there's still so much more that they can do with Thunder Rosa, but it feels very clear to me that we may be seeing a brand new AEW Women's World Champion, but again, we'll talk about that in just a second. Thank you so much to Nick Grasso for kicking us off with our first super chat of the day. But let's get into this, everybody. Let's get into this. We're going to go in chronological order in terms of the events that occurred here today. Let's kick this off with the hair versus hair match, which was Chris Jericho versus Ortiz. So this was, I liked this match. And it had an ending. Most people here, chances are, I'm just going to put an estimate. I'm going to say 95% of the people watching here would have probably really liked to see Chris Jericho get his hair shaved off. But let's be real. We all knew it wasn't really going to be Chris Jericho. We knew something was going to happen so that, Chris Jericho could be protected and not get his hair shaved off. Okay. We all pretty much knew that, even though we all would have liked to see Chris Jericho get his head shaven off. We knew it wasn't really going to happen. But anyways, Chris Jericho versus Ortiz. I loved the momentum in this match. And the reason I say that is because this got started off like really hot and heavy. And it's not every day that we get to see Ortiz in these singles matches, especially in these like higher caliber type of matches. The hair versus hair match against Chris Jericho on Dynamite, on the opening of Dynamite, especially one of the most promoted matches heading into Road Rager, is a pretty big deal. So I was very happy for Ortiz, for him to get this opportunity, but we knew something fishy was going to go down in the end, and we ended up getting that. So before that, I do want to shout out Ortiz because I love that splash from Ortiz. I love Ortiz hitting Chris Jericho with the cutter, Jericho hitting him with the code breaker, locking in the walls of Jericho. There was a moment. So we got pretty much, all of Jericho's guys, all of Ortiz's friends, all brawling on the outside of the ring. And this led the referee to get distracted and not see Eddie Kingston. And Eddie Kingston goes in there and hits Jericho with a spinning back fist. And Ortiz goes for the pin. And I swear to God, I legitimately fell for that. I legitimately fell for the finish. I really thought that was going to be it. And I thought, holy cow, are they really going to have Ortiz defeat Chris Jericho here and actually have his hair taken off? Completely fell for it. So good job on them for making me fall for it. But it ended up not working out that way. And Jericho ended up getting the win. But that was with the help of Fuego del Sol. And I'm putting air quotations up for the audio listeners who can't see the video. But it's not Fuego del Sol. It's Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara comes out and he uses the freaking bat. And that's how he ends up helping Chris Jericho get the win. And now Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti are now members of the Jericho Appreciation Society. So pros on this, I would say, well, it was pretty unexpected. Like, I know that Sammy Guevara has his history with Chris Jericho. We already know that. So unexpected to a certain extent. It's more so that I just didn't see Sammy Guevara getting involved in this particular moment, but he did. And it also works out because one of the criticisms that we've been talking about in regards to Sammy Guevara is that he hasn't been seen as a babyface. He was technically kind of supposed to be a babyface, but it wasn't working out that way with his pairing with himself and Ty Conti. The people kind of see him as a heel, so he should be a heel. Well, he technically is now, even though to some people it happened a lot sooner. But regardless, I loved Ortiz cutting off his own hair, shaving off his own hair, because the visual of that was literally Ortiz just giving like 0 Fs whatsoever, just grabbing the hair and cutting it. And then finally he gets the razor and starts shaving his head. And then he just starts yelling into the microphone saying blood and guts, blood and guts. And he's so hyped up for blood and guts and wanting to get this revenge on Jericho and the Jericho Appreciation Society that it got you all like wired up and whatnot. So I love this. I love how it ended up turning out. I thought the story for the most part was good. So I liked this opening of Dynamite. It made me fall for it for a second and then it entertained me. But let's get some thoughts in here and see what people are saying in regards to this. This is a super chat from Chris who says that chair shot to Jungle Boy was really brutal. Hope he's okay. Dude, Christian went all freaking like haywire. He went freaking nuts on Jungle Boy. He was like, here's your birthday present, bro. Like, damn, he really went for it. We'll talk about that more towards the end of the show. But thank you so much to Chris for also sending in this super chat here today. Let me pull up a couple of non-super chat comments and see what people thought about this Chris Jericho, Ortiz, and Sammy Guevara situation. Let's see what people are saying here. And let's see. Let me get some good ones. We got John who says it wasn't a good one. We got Baby saying it was a great idea. We got people putting over Ortiz for being a badass. Let's get some more here. Roberto Arsenal pointing out that because Fuego is Sammy's friends. Yes, let's not forget that. They have history too. We already know that. And let's get some more. Let's see what people are saying. This is from YT who says, I was convinced that Jericho was going to lose. Also, why the hell did Sammy steal Fuego's gear and try to frame him? Fuego's got to rethink that friendship. Can't even trust his best friend anymore. Shaking my head. I mean, who knows? There's got to be some sort of follow-up. Why did he use his gear? I mean, he could have easily... Let's be real. He could have easily just gotten like some black sweatpants and like a black hoodie and like tarped himself off and then gone in and, did what he did. he didn't technically have to have Fuego's gear, but he went that direction instead. So it's fine. We got Vince Rawlings saying, welcome back. Welcome to the dark side, heel Sammy. And people putting over Ortiz, which I appreciate. Good for him. I'm really happy for him. All right, let's continue on from here, guys. Let's get into this 20-on-1 handicap match from Wardlow versus the plaintiffs. So this was something that I was looking forward to just because the concept, the general idea, the gist of it all, let's be real, it's super wacky, it's kind of out there, but it goes along with what Wardlow has been doing for weeks now. We have seen Wardlow absolutely manhandle all of these security guards and really giving zero Fs for their lives, for their well-being, and Wardlow has definitely gotten over. We already know this. His whole entire feud with MJF, he has gotten massively over, coming out to the no entrance, giving us those Goldberg vibes with the no entrance. Like I said, killing the security guards left and right, all culminating to basically practically end the life of MJF for like a couple days. But regardless, so we ended up getting this match here. I thought it was fun. I mean, I wasn't expecting anything too serious of this. I love the visual of Wardlow just in the ring and seeing all of the plaintiffs around him, all of the staff. And I think the only issue with this match is that we didn't get this like cool visual of like, I thought it was a little bit slow, not slow, but I didn't like some of the pacing for this match in terms of how they worked in the guys going in, because it kind of took a while. I think because there were so many of the security guards that it almost kind of felt like, oh, well, like you're supposed to do that. Don't forget that you're supposed to do that. I kind of feel like it took them a second to kind of get the groove of the entire thing. So the beginning to me was just a tad bit slow. I would have liked to see Wardlow like immediately go in and just like be tossing and laying out these bodies. But as we moved on, once we started getting people eliminated, we started to see this move at a faster pace. And that's when I think it got a little bit more entertaining. Once you started to see Wardlow stacking these bodies, tossing out the security guard to the outside. Once you started to see that, that's when this kind of got a little bit more fun. So just seeing him stack up all the bodies for me was personally my favorite part of this. So this was perfectly fine. Afterwards, we do have Dan Lambert, who sends out UFC fighters, both Matt Hughes and Tyron Woodley. He sends them out to attack Wardlow, but instead, Wardlow kind of reasons for them, talks about how they're cut from the same cloth, and so they end up doing nothing, and they were incredibly kind of pointless in this whole thing, but whatever. So Wardlow just ends up basically laying out Mark Sterling. So that's kind of how that ends up closing out. Fun, silly, perfectly fine. I think the whole thing with Wardlow, though, is interesting because we've been talking about how ever since the whole MJF situation happened, it almost doesn't feel like, I know that Wardlow said that he's going for the TNT championship, but it feels like this should have happened a lot faster. I know Scorpio Sky is not, able just yet to defend his championship, but it feels like there's this pause where we're waiting to see what's really next for Wardlow. We know the TNT championship is coming. It's on the horizon, but it still feels just a tad bit like there was just so much hype for Wardlow, and some of it kind of feels like it was taken away a little bit because of everything that happened with MJF and kind of not seeing Wardlow immediately go after the TNT championship. It kind of felt like, okay, where are we going here with Wardlow? So it's going to be interesting to see when we finally get that TNT championship match. But regardless, this was fun. This was entertaining. It was good. Let's see what else we got here and see what people are saying. And this is from Dave, who says, Dave says, a powerbomb Wardlow did with the jobber with the cage still rules. Let's see what else we got. Let's get some more comments in here. We got a bunch. I'm trying to pick out some good ones here. This is from Vicky L, who says, he looked like a lumberjack stacking up that wood. Bro, yeah, he definitely did. Let's see. This is from Roberto, who says, I didn't like it because we already know how much damage Wardlow can do, so I think they're overdoing it with his strength point, his point of view. I don't mind it. I'm a fan of somebody just like ripping people to shreds. Like, I like the violence. Sorry, I'm very violent. I like the violence. I like the idea of Wardlow going out there and just like brutalizing all these men for once. And it's 20 guys. Come on, 20 guys against one. It's going to make that one look extra good, right? And there's nothing else right now. It doesn't seem like they have any other ideas right now for Wardlow, but this should be the end. I don't want to see any more with this whole plaintiff stuff. You know, I wouldn't mind if he like tosses a security guard every now and then, but this should be the end in terms of the whole plaintiffs things, which it is, because I think they announced it at the end that the lawsuit or whatever was done with. So that's perfectly fine. Christopher S. says they're clearly doing Wardlow and Scorpio Sky, and post-segment, Jim Ross is asking, I'm wondering what's next for this man. It was obvious, JR, says Christopher S. Let's see what else we got here. This is from Stephen May, who says Wardlow can actually go 20 if they want to go with that time limit route. And yeah, this was good, guys. Bobby Fresco says, Blackpool Combat Club, Denise, you like the violence. Hell yeah, man. The more violence, the better. All right. Let's see. We got a comment from Matt Hensley, who says, this whole thing just wasn't for me. It was just too sloppy for me and too long. Plus, I had no idea who Matt Hughes was. So I was really confused to see a man who couldn't walk while stepping into the ring. Yeah, I do get it. Like, I didn't think they really needed the incorporation of the UFC fighters. They didn't really need it in this situation. It kind of felt like a little bit overbooked on that end of things. But I do agree with you in terms of the layout of this match. It wasn't like, I think they could have worked around it to just make it a little bit more fast paced, like I was mentioning earlier, but it was still like, I feel like I'm not going to critique this the same way that I would critique a Will Ospreay versus Dax Harwood, because it was two totally different things. And I was expecting two totally different things. So I feel like that's the reason I don't want to be so hard on this, because it's a 20-on-1 handicap match with Wardlow against plaintiffs, you know? But either way, thank you so much to Mac for sending in his thoughts on here. All right, moving on, guys. Let's get into match of the... wait, hold on. I was about to say match of the night, and then immediately I thought of the main event, and I was like, shit, Denise, what are you thinking here? Are you going to go with this with match of the night, or are you not going to go with it with match of the night? But I'm going to go with it with match of the night. Will Ospreay versus Dax Harwood. The second this match was announced on social media, immediately everybody was like, oh shit, like this is happening. This is a dream match. We're actually getting this. Dax Harwood on the AEW side of things, when he's been doing these singles matches, and on top of like whether he's in a 6-man match or a tag match or whatever match he's in, it's always good stuff. Good with FTR, good with himself alone. And he's been showing that over and over again. Will Ospreay, who's already just like a freaking a fan favorite in terms of like the in-ring style, arguably one of the best performers out there right now. And so to see them come together was really freaking cool. But before I get into that, we did get a super chat from Anthony Navarro. Once again, guys, if you do want to send in a super chat, they do help me out here on the show. They keep me living this Los Angeles lifestyle with expensive rent and expensive gas. But let's see what Anthony's saying. He says, quick, fast forward. Ruby should have won the Hart tournament. The Owen Hart tournament. Britt didn't even rock the belt entrance tonight. Understand why she put Toni over, but not Ruby. I don't think that, for me, I think it was very clear at a certain point that Britt Baker was going to be winning that tournament. And the reason why she put over Toni today is because Toni is going into that match at Forbidden Door with Thunder Rosa. So they wanted to give her a big win. I know at this point the match hadn't been announced yet, but it was announced later on in the night that Toni Storm would be moving on to face Thunder Rosa. So it was a very like, oh shit, like she beat Britt Baker cleanly, right? But it really was, given the fact that she's going into this big match with Thunder Rosa at Forbidden Door. But we'll talk about that more in just a second. Thank you so much to Anthony Navarro for sending in this super chat. So Will Ospreay versus Dax Harwood. Let's get back to this one because this match was a banger, okay? I think it definitely lived up to the expectations. This could have easily been on a pay-per-view. I love this. I'm going to kind of read off some of the things that happened in this match, just to some of my favorite portions of this. Some of the stuff that I really loved was the Hurricanrana from Ospreay right off the bat from this match. The chops that we saw throughout this match. First, we saw a couple from Will Ospreay, and then Dax completely took over, and we just saw like a bunch of chops throughout the entire match from Dax Harwood. And I love his chops. The reason I love them is because they're very, very solid. They're very, very steady. Like it's not a sloppy chop. It's like a direct, I'm gonna freaking kill you right now with this chop kind of chop. So that's the best way to describe it. I love how solid the delivery of the said chop is. So I love that. He chops them on the ring apron. He chops them in the ring. He chops them all over. After this, we get a really nice drop kick on the outside from Will Ospreay to Dax Harwood. After the commercial break, we see Dax Harwood execute 5 German suplexes back to back, and then a couple seconds later, he hits another German suplex. So he technically got 6 in there within this very short amount of time. After this, there was a really awesome moment where we see Dax go for a splash, but Ospreay moves out of the way. We see them both... we see a springboard power bomb. We see both guys on their knees headbutting each other. And you guys know, if you've watched the show before, I love headbutts. I love headbutts. They're probably one of my favorite things when you're telling the story between two guys that are just want to like fight to the point where they're using their heads. To me, is pretty telling. But anyways, they're both on their knees, giving each other headbutts. They start striking each other back and forth, really leveling this match up even more. We see a killer lariat from Dax Harwood. Ospreay doing the Liger bomb. We see Ospreay doing a springboard cutter. He goes for the pin. It's another near fall. And then finally, we end up seeing a killer back elbow from Ospreay and to the back of the head of Dax Harwood, and that's how he ends up getting the win here. So this match was aggressive. It had a little bit of everything that you like to see in a wrestling match. We saw a lot of the greatest hits here, and it all came together. It all culminated very, very nicely. So I was a big fan of how this match ended up playing out. After the match, what we need to talk about here is we end up seeing Aussie Open, Great O'Khan, Jeff Cobb come out, attack Dax. We see Cash Wheeler, Roppongi Vice come out, join the brawl. And then finally, we get the Orange Cassidy. He returns. He comes back. He's been gone for several months. I think, 4 months, I think, due to injury. And he ends up confronting Will Ospreay, gets in his face, and they have this like stare off. And I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be the Forbidden Door match. And if it is, I'm here for that, because Orange Cassidy is really good in the ring. For those of you guys who are already fans, you already know this. So I was pretty excited about that, because I was curious to see, like, okay, who are they going to put Will Ospreay in terms of, this for Forbidden Door? Like, what's the match going to be? Especially given how long they've taken to actually announce the Forbidden Door matches. But they later on announced on the show that it's going to be Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy. And I think this is a good way to get somebody like Orange Cassidy, who's been away for a couple of months, back on the map. And I know you're like, we really wasn't gone that long, but given how fast things move in wrestling and how fast things move in AEW, being gone even just like a month or two, it's like all of a sudden you're not at the forefront of everybody's mind. So putting Orange Cassidy in this situation, I think, is a good way to get him back into the mix of things and get him back there, having people thinking Orange Cassidy. And I think it's going to be a good match. Orange Cassidy can do a lot of that. He can do a lot of the high flying type of stuff. He'll incorporate that with Will Ospreay, so it'll be pretty good. So I'm looking forward to that. But let's see what people are saying. Guys, in the chat, let me know how you guys felt about Will Ospreay, Dax Harwood. Was it match of the night? And also, how do you feel about Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy officially happening at Forbidden Door? Let's get some thoughts in here. We got Leonard Aarons III, who sends in a super chat saying, ironic that Will is champ yet without the title this year, when last year he was stripped of the title but held it anyway well after the the fact. Thank you so much to Leonard Aarons III for sending this in here. Let's see what else. Let's get some more good stuff in here. This is from Andrew Cook, who says, hell yes, match of the night, Denise. This was the first time I've seen Ospreay in a singles match, and I see what the big deal is now, and Dax is always amazing. I think we were talking about this last week. Might have been you or might have been somebody else that we were talking about in regards to that here. And let's see what else we got here. Let's get some more comments in this. And this is from Dave, who says, I'm not an orange guy, but to each its own. Ospreay could work a broom. He could wrestle anybody and it'd be good. But I don't want that to take away from Orange Cassidy, because Orange Cassidy brings it. Like, I will never forget that match that he had with Pac and Kenny Omega. That was really freaking good. Like, I remember popping for that just over and over again. Juan Ortega says, what does everybody want? Headbutt. What does everybody need? Headbutt. I appreciate the comedy, dude. Thank you to Juan Ortega for making me laugh on here. Let's see what else we got here. We got a couple of super chats. Thank God, y'all were making me worried here. Just kidding. Jay Mills 98 says, Ospreay is the best all-around pro wrestler in the world. To the people hating on Cassidy, please chill. The man can work. Oh, and that Forbidden Door match will be a banger. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's gonna be good. And here's the thing, like, Orange Cassidy, guys, here's like why I think this is, aside from the fact that he can go out there and he could do the high fly type of stuff and really mix it in with Will Ospreay. The other reason that I'm not upset about this being Orange Cassidy in this match with Will Ospreay is because Orange Cassidy is a popular guy amongst AEW fans. He's popular, and he's the person that, if I don't know, let's say you take your kid to go watch AEW, he's the person that your kid's going to be like, oh shit, I'm a fan of Orange Cassidy. His numbers on YouTube are actually absolutely phenomenal. He's a fan favorite when it comes to AEW. So why not put somebody like that who gets over with the people in this match with Will Ospreay? And like I said, get him back into the groove of things since he's been gone a couple of months. And so I like the idea of Orange Cassidy and Will Ospreay. I think it's going to be a good match. We got Roberto Arsenal sends in a super chat saying, Ospreay versus Harwood was great. These two are top 10 in the world for me. I have no doubt that Ospreay versus Orange will be great. I want Naito at the pay-per-view. It's crazy to me, though, that we're legitimately 11 days away from Forbidden Door, and we know, like 5 matches that are happening, 5-6 matches possibly. And we found out quite a few today, but prior to this, it was like 2. We didn't really know that much of what was actually happening on the show. And given how these AEW pay-per-views are always really stacked and they last hours, I'm still expecting several more matches to be announced at some point. We still got Rampage. They could announce something there. We still got AEW on the 22nd, and then we also got Rampage on the 24th. So there's still at least 3 shows for them to announce stuff. But let's see what else we got. We got a super chat here from Sheldon Jackson, who says, I would have had Ospreay interrupt Toni Storm just to have her deliver a message to Juice Robinson saying he wants his red leather and gold. Good one. Thank you so much to Sheldon Jackson for the funny nod here. All right. Let's go ahead and move on from this. So once again, great match. Will Ospreay, Dax Harwood definitely lived up to the expectations. Thumbs ups, dude. Okay, moving on. Speaking of Forbidden Door, we had Jon Moxley and Hiroshi Tanahashi confrontation here tonight. Let's see. Where do we want to get at from here? Let's start this off with what Jon Moxley had to say. So Jon Moxley tells Tanahashi that he's the best professional wrestler on this planet, that Jon Moxley himself is the best professional wrestler on this planet. And then he tells them that after the match that they have at Forbidden Door, that he is going to call him the ace. So we're like, okay, what's Tanahashi? What's his comeback going to be? And he gets the microphone, but before he can even say anything, Jericho comes out. Jericho interrupts, and we essentially makes a match. So he comes out, and basically we end up getting Jericho calls out for the rest of the Jazz to come out. And this is also when he makes it official that Sammy and Ty Conti are part of the Jericho Appreciation Society. we end up seeing El Desperado, Lance Archer, come out, and they're attacked as well. Then we end up seeing Jericho announced the new edition of Jericho Appreciation Society with Sammy and Ty. Okay, I already mentioned that. And then afterwards, he makes a match, and the match that he makes is, he says he's going to team, let me see, frick, I messed this up. Okay, here we go. So we're gonna end up getting Jericho, Sammy Guevara versus Yuta, and okay, so Jericho, Suzuki, Guevara versus Yuta and Shota Umino and Eddie Kingston, made for Forbidden Door. Sorry, guys, my notes were all fucked up. But anyway, so he ends up making a match for Forbidden Door, and this kind of, to me, and I will say this, my favorite part of this was Tanahashi telling Chris Jericho to shut up. I liked him just telling him to shut up. But this did kind of feel a little bit like too much. I felt like too much was happening during this, where we saw Chris Jericho have to repeat himself a little bit. It was just a lot happening that, to me, I didn't want incorporated with the Jon Moxley, Hiroshi Tanahashi confrontation. I kind of felt like this was, three different things all thrown into one. So I would have liked these things to be separate, but whatever. It's fine. Good. Thumbs up. Let's see what people are saying about here. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. This is from let me get some good comments in here, guys. If you got some good ones and I haven't seen them, copy and paste, resend them again, and I'm going to try to get them as many as I can in here. But we got a super chat. That's the best way to get noticed. Magnum Wait says, love me a headbutt, Dax, Kyle O'Reilly, Ortiz, etc. A lot of good tag wrestlers have been putting on absolute banger singles matches this year. Agreed. I feel like we haven't seen Ortiz enough in those singles matches, but from what we have seen, it's been pretty decent. Kyle O'Reilly, for sure. I mean, he just had that match with Jon Moxley, which was pretty good. And then Dax Harwood, obviously, he's a little bit more fresh in our minds in terms of, the consecutive good matches that he's been having as well. So I completely agree with you. Thank you so much for sharing this and for sending in this comment. I appreciate that. Okay, let's see. This is from Andrew, who says, I liked Moxley's promo, but putting Tanahashi and Mox on the same side versus Jericho Appreciation Society, and I was getting confused while Jericho was announcing the match. Too much going on here. Yeah, this is exactly what I said. I kind of felt like there was just a lot happening here. And this is from R. Riggs, who says, Tanahashi was fine in the segment. I didn't mind him not talking, not big on Jericho cutting in, and the Mox promo was a disaster. I didn't think it was a disaster. I definitely wouldn't say a disaster. It was fine. It was fine. I just would have liked that back and forth between Tanahashi and Moxley. I think I would have enjoyed that because that was what was really promoted there. So I would have kind of preferred that. And all right, so let's go ahead and move on from here. And let's get into, we still got a couple more items to get into, but before we do, everybody, please indulge me for a second as I give some love to our sponsors, Wrestle Rumble. So for those of you who do not know, this podcast is sponsored by Wrestle Rumble. Thank them very much because they are my first official sponsors for this podcast. And we are literally just 11 days away from Forbidden Door, just 11 days away. And they hold pick'em contests. So basically every month for all major pay-per-views or premium live events, they do these pick'em contests where you go to the website, WrestleRumble.com, you purchase an entry, and with that entry, you're provided a form. And in that form, you answer prop questions, which is essentially predictions. Who do you think is going to win? How are they going to win? Etc. They basically offer all of these different scenarios, and you have to try and predict or answer what you think is going to happen on the pay-per-view. The person who scores the most points ends up winning prizes. For AEW Double or Nothing, I had one of my viewers actually win $1,000. Like legit won $1,000. Now, if you look on the screen here, I got this Forbidden Door pick'em graphic here. And for this one, the fourth place person is going to take home a mystery plot prize. The third place person is going to take home $100. Second place, $200. And first place, $500. Now, I don't know about you, but I could use $500. I could use $200. I could use $100. Hell, I'll take the mystery prize. We're always talking about wrestling, guys. Make it a little bit more fun. Go to WrestleRumble.com. enter and you might just win some cold, hard cash. Once again, WrestleRumble.com. You can also visit them on Instagram or on Twitter at WrestleRumble. Alrighty, now let's get back to all of this. Jesus, my Lord! Oh, my fresh tomatoes. JM, holy moly guacamole. Dude, thank you so much for this generous super chat. Dude, massive super chat. Thank you so much. I want to cry. JM says, shout out to Willow Nightingale. I've only seen her work on AEW and always come away wanting to see more. Shout out to Denise Salcedo. Guys, can you please give some love to JM here on the chat? Please, I really appreciate him sending this massive super chat. I know, guys, just oh man, I'm just so thankful and I never know how to thank people and I just feel like saying thank you isn't enough. But please give some love to Jay, guys, for sending this very kind super chat. But to answer your well, not really question, but just to kind of talk about what you wrote here. Shout out to Willow Nightingale. I did do an interview with Willow Nightingale and she is a freaking sweetheart, an absolute pleasure to talk to. Check that one out. I had a really good time chatting with Willow Nightingale and getting to learn her story because I didn't know much about her because I had only seen her on AEW too. So I didn't really know that much about her. So I really got to learn a whole lot about her. So check her out. And I also got to see her at Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor. Really happy for her there too. And then, yeah, thank you so much, guys. Please give Jay some love for this very kind super chat. All right. So, let's see, where are we at from here? I completely lost track of, all right. Yeah, we're coming back from the Wrestle Rumble sponsorship here. Okay, so let's get into our next topic, and this is the All-Atlantic Championship qualifier match. So as we all know, PAC has qualified for this opportunity at Forbidden Door because they are going to be having a 4-way to crown the new All-Atlantic champion. So we had today Ethan Page versus Miro, and I think for the most part, we all kind of, I'm going to say it's a safe bet that most of us were rooting for Miro in this situation just because Miro is somebody that, he was TNT champion. He had a pretty nice short period of being champion, but it was still a good period. A little short, but still good. Still quality stuff. He's been gone for a while. He's been doing a little bit of stuff with Hollywood, etc. He came back at the Los Angeles show, and now he's part of this tournament here. So I was very happy to see him qualify for the All-Atlantic 4-way. Good for him. I thought this was a pretty good match. I love that right off the bat we saw Ethan Page go after Miro in terms of hitting him with a couple of kicks to the back of the knee, kicking him on the left arm, kind of trying to bring the big guy down. I appreciated that. We see Miro attack the left shoulder of Ethan Page. We see him get him with a series of fists on his chest. And then afterwards, we end up seeing Ethan go for a shoulder tackle. That was pretty good too. But eventually we see Miro win with the game over. And so it was solid. It was good. People have been rooting for Miro. The promos that he did, all of those different segments that he did really got over with the audience. So it's nice to see Miro advance in this tournament. So now Miro has advanced and PAC has advanced as well. We still got to find out who the other two are going to be. This is not the updated bracket because I didn't update it, but we are going to be seeing Penta versus Malachi. I believe they said that match is happening on Dynamite next week, if I'm correct. I think. Okay, so 554K sends in a super chat. Thank you so much to 554K, who says, I'm a little late with this message, but I agree with you. I liked the start of the John Moxley segment, but the Chris Jericho part made it sloppy, in my opinion. Well, I'm really glad that that you kind of felt the same way. Again, I think that having stars like Tanahashi and John Moxley was enough to carry this segment over. And you want to give it a lot of attention considering that it's a major freaking matchup, where we're going to find out who the AEW interim world champion is going to become. So I feel like that should have been reserved only for them. But thank you so much to 554K for also sending in the super chat. We have another one from William Pitchcan. William, glad to see you back. William says, interesting that Miro and Pac will share the same ring. Wasn't there real beef between the two due to a botch match a while back? So when Miro and Pac, so I don't want to comment too much on that because I don't really know for sure. So I don't want to touch on that and whether or not there was beef because you just never really know. And plus, what if things are already, good and solid? But I feel like regardless, it's like shit. Like it can't get in the way of them actually going out there and doing this match. So I'm glad to see Miro and Pac already made it in. In terms of who I want to win, though, I'm going to say Pac, man. I think Pac is the person that, I don't know, deserves it is the right word, but I feel like he's been that person that's just been like on the point, on the precipice of like breaking out. And I know breaking out seems like not the best way to say it because Pac has been good for quite some time. So breaking out is probably not the best way to word it, but you get what I'm saying. Like really to launch him into that next level and having him hold some gold in AEW, I think would be a really good stuff. And then, maybe even seeing him defend that championship in other places. So yeah, thank you so much to William. And I'm sorry I couldn't answer your question a little bit better, but thank you so much for sending that in. So let's go ahead and move on. This is from my dad. My name is not Earl, who says Miro said on his Twitch he will never wrestle against the guy who injured him. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on from this here. And let's see. This is from Leonard Aarons III, who says New Japan will have their qualifiers early next week. Sorry, I didn't finish. Okay. And by this time next week, we will know who from New Japan will be in that match. Exactly. All right. And someone says I just said Pac-Man. Oh, because I said Pac-Man. Okay, that's good. That's good. I like you guys always catch this stuff. I can always count on the listeners to catch these things, but that's good because that means you're paying attention. You're listening. I appreciate that. All right, everyone. Let's continue on. So let's get into Britt Baker versus Toni Storm because there's kind of a lot to unpack here. I know somebody already mentioned that. Somebody already mentioned, the situation with Toni Storm and Thunder Rosa, etc., and Britt Baker, all of that good stuff. So we kind of touched on it a little bit at the top of the show, but let's get into this a little bit more. First and foremost, I want to put over that promo that Toni Storm cut earlier today because I thought it was really, really good. I like that she brought up that, Britt Baker is a dentist, meaning that she's a smart girl, that she studied, that she knows things. And then she says, I dropped out of school at 15. So I kind of like seeing those comparisons between Toni Storm and Britt Baker, or rather those differences between Toni Storm and Britt Baker, rather. And she says that she wants to take the AEW women's division to where it should be. Now, let's get into the match itself. The match I thought was okay. I thought some parts were a little bit slow, but for the most part, it was fine. I love the double DDT, the DDT from Toni Storm inside the ring, and then the DDT to Britt Baker to the outside of the ring. I thought that was good. Toni Storm hitting the Storm Zero and getting a clean victory over Britt Baker was a little bit unexpected, but it makes sense because later on we would find out that she would go on to face Thunder Rosa. During this match, Thunder Rosa did come out. She ran in and she pushed Rebel out of the way, and then she ended up chasing Jamie Hayter to the back. And then afterwards, we see after the match, after Toni Storm has won, we see Thunder Rosa come out with her bout, and she just points at Toni Storm, and so alluding to this match possibly happening. It was at this point that commentary was like, oh, it may happen, blah, blah, blah. But later on, it was made official. So, this is a tough one for me, guys. This is a tough one. And the reason I say that is because I do feel bad. I feel bad that, Thunder Rosa has gotten a lot of criticism for her championship run. And this was really not, I think, the way that it was supposed to be. I kind of fear that the championship's going to be taken off of her. And the reason I say I fear this is because we waited so long to see Thunder Rosa become champion. And then she finally gets her moment. And instantly it was just like criticism. And the reason for that was nobody was interested in her feud with Nyla Rose. nobody really cared about that because everybody kind of saw, Nyla Rose being the first opponent for the champion as something that had been done too many times. So that kind of took away some of the momentum that Thunder Rosa had when she came in as, when she had first won the championship, right? Then she gets into this feud with Serena Deeb, which I personally enjoyed that feud with Serena Deeb, but again, that one also had a lot of criticisms. There was a lot of people that didn't like the storytelling between Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb, but I thought they had a pretty fantastic match. That was good too. So I would say, like, to me, that was pretty good. I like the stuff that we saw with Serena Deeb and Thunder Rosa, but that's still not enough to make a great reign, especially a great first reign, especially a reign that we had been waiting for a very long time. And so if Thunder Rosa were to defeat Toni Storm here, I think it would be massive because Thunder Rosa needs a big win like that as champion. Getting a win over over Toni Storm would be huge because Toni Storm right now, she's still riding the momentum of, hey, she's new. She just got into the company. I know she's been there for a little bit, but, she's still riding that momentum of her being new to the promotion. People are, for the most part behind Toni Storm, etc. So I feel like if she were to defeat Toni Storm, this would really signify to me, okay, you know what? They're actually going to do something with Thunder Rosa as champion. I just feel like we haven't seen enough of what I think we could be seeing with Thunder Rosa as champion. I feel like they can do so much more if they would give her the opportunity to do so. So with that being said, part of me still thinks that they're just going to give the championship to Toni Storm because, she's the new kid on the block here on AEW. She, for the most part, is very popular. People like her. I like her. A lot of people like her. She's over with the people. So I'm like, shit, like, is this the time now to make Toni Storm champion? Possibly. So even though I would like to see Toni Storm as champion, I'm like, damn, I still would feel bad for Thunder Rosa that she didn't get that full-fledged, run, something a little bit more similar to what Britt Baker was able to do. So this one's a little bit conflicting for me because I do think, like, man, I do think this is a good time for Toni Storm to be champion, but then at the same time, I'm like, shit, I still want Thunder Rosa to be champion. So I feel very conflicted with this one here. But let's see what people are saying here and how you guys feel about this. If you're conflicted or not conflicted, let's get some thoughts and see what people are saying. This is from Daniel, who says Toni 100% should be going over. She's getting hot. She's top tier talent, and we have to put enough roses at the feet. And we have put enough roses at the feet of Britt. Sorry, I wasn't reading that properly. Let's see what else we got here. And this is from Kevin Bailey, who says, it might be me, but from the moment Thunder Rosa won the AEW Women's Championship, it seems like AEW has set her up to fail as champion. And as she and the champion has been put on the back burner. I do feel this too because, there's been so much focus on, the TBS championship, and that's perfectly fine because, they're doing pretty good stuff with the TBS championship too. And then you had the Owen Hart tournament for the women. So that took some of the attention as well. So it did kind of feel like, the AEW Women's Championship and the AEW Women's Champion was sort of put on, the back burner. And it shouldn't be like that because the AEW World Championship the Women's AEW World Championship should still be the championship that is, at the very top of the pyramid. It should be at the very top of the pyramid when you're comparing it to the TBS championship and then the tournament, etc. So let's see what else we got here and see what people are saying. Let's see what else we got here. And, oh man. Okay, let's see. I'm just getting a couple of good stuff in here and see what we got. And this is from Brett, who says Thunder Rosa won the title and was on TV for like 3 minutes over the span of the next month. Yeah, and that's very unfortunate, guys. Yeah, that is very unfortunate. We got people saying that they don't think Thunder Rosa is going to be losing. But again, I wouldn't say that for sure. We just don't know. And we got a super chat here, a very generous super chat from Leonard Aarons III, who says, Chicago is a super smart wrestling town, and in light of what Rosa said today in that interview, I think it's going to be a really tough sell for Rosa to leave as champ. Toni winning is needed right now in every possible way. See, there were some people that were saying that they don't think Thunder Rosa is losing, but it does feel like a lot of people are ready to see Toni Storm become champion. I just feel like if they would have given Thunder Rosa more in terms of like, I think putting her in that feud with Nyla Rose kind of took, again, like I said, some of that momentum away from her. And then, Serena Deeb stuff for the most part, that was good, but some people didn't like that. I just think they could have put her on TV a little bit more, had her do more stuff, have her win back the crowd. And I think she could have done it, but there we go. That's where we're at right now. Thank you so much to Leonard Aarons III for also sending in this very generous super chat. We got oh my gosh, Jesus, today's my lucky day. JM sends another very generous super chat. JM says, thank you so much, Jay. Seriously, dude, I don't, please tweet me afterwards, or you can comment your Twitter handle afterwards. Just leave it in the comments. I really do want to send you a nice message. But JM says, I feared her winning the belt from Britt would eliminate her having any programs with any other heels with real heat. At this point, I think Thunder can only be booked to have banger matches with other baby faces as champs. No, I feel she can have, these banger matches with just about anybody, baby faces, heels, etc. Thunder Rosa is a baby face. She's technically a baby face. And I feel like it's more so of them just allowing her to be a fighting champion. A fighting champion as a baby face is always going to get over. If you're a baby face and you're going out there as a fighting champion, you're going to get the respect from the crowd, especially if you're going out there and you're having, these decent matches. So I do think that if she were just to go out there and have matches and have opponents and have, be able to tell good stories, she's going to get over. Why? Because that's what she was doing, not too long ago. She was getting over. This is somebody that did get over with the AEW crowd. People, have been talking and praising that, her feud with Britt Baker. Everybody talks about that lights out match. And so, Thunder Rosa had the crowd before. I think she could, once again, and I'm not saying that she's, lost the crowd or anything, but there are people that, have kind of turned another direction. And it was mainly because of how her reign was essentially presented. Right. So, I really hope that this all gets fixed. And I think that whatever happens, if Thunder Rosa remains champion, good. If Toni Storm becomes champion, that will be cool too for Toni Storm. But I do hope that they don't just forget about Thunder Rosa at this point, because it did take a very long time for her to get to this point and become champion. We waited so long. Thank you so much to JM for sending in this very generous super chat. Let's see what else we got here and see what people are saying here. Let's see. All right. So, let's see. I want to make sure I got a couple of them here. Let's see. Now let's go ahead and move on from this. Let's see. After Britt Baker versus Toni Storm, we did get a Stokely Hathaway promo. I like this. So let's talk here because we got he's talking about this open challenge for Jade, and Willow Nightingale, she comes out and she accepts it. And it's funny too, because at first he thinks that she's there because she wants to be a baddie, but she's like, no, I'm here because I want to be champion. But she just comes in very peppy, very fun. She just cheers you up. She's just a happy person. So she tends to get over with people, I think, because she's just a happy person. Her energy, it's a light energy, she doesn't feel heavy. It's a light energy that she has, and it's really nice. It's really, really nice. So anyways, after this, we got the Hangman Page a promo here, and there's kind of a lot to talk about here because we still don't know exactly what match is going to be made for Forbidden Door on this end of things. But he comes out and he says, he reminds us that, last week he said he was going after Okada, and then he was going after the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. So he reminds us about that. he, informs us like, hey, Okada is no longer champion. Adam Cole comes down. And he's like, yeah, because Jay White is champion. And he says, how many times do I have to repeat myself? It's not getting through to you that you're not going to face Jay White because I'm going to face Jay White. And so they've kind of been, beefing there because they both want to face Jay White or, whoever was IWGP champion, because last week they were arguing about this too. But today they're arguing again because they both want to face Jay White. Okay. Then Adam Cole makes it seem like Jay White's going to come out through the entrance. So he kind of teases that. But instead, Jay White comes out and attacks Hangman Page from behind. So he ends up coming from behind. And afterwards, Jay White tells them, like, I'm not going to put the tie. I'm not going to face. You're not going to challenge for the championship. He tells that to Hangman Page. And then he also tells it to Adam Cole. And Adam Cole's like, what the frick? Like, I thought we were bros here. Like, what the hell? You're not going to put the championship up against me. So he says he's not putting it up against Adam Cole. And he's not putting it up against Adam Page. So we still don't officially know who Jay White is putting up the title against or what they're going to do. He basically ends it by saying, I hold the prize, I hold the power. So that's kind of where we're at here. They're really, really getting really close to the deadline here of when the hell we're going to find out who is going to face Jay White. Let's see what else we got here. And this is from Shea, who says, Jay White is so great. The promo he cut at the press conference after winning the belt was great. I got to see that. That was really good too. And Dave Goldberg says, everyone can like who they like. Jay White puts me to sleep. I like Jay White. I've been a fan of his for a while. Even when he wasn't popular just yet with the people, there was always that potential with him, and you saw it. And then he had like this reinvention in himself, and I really, really liked what he did. And now he's starting to. I think he's turned a lot more heads over to his side in terms of like rooting for him and whatnot. Daniel Zambrano predicts a 4-way with Okada, White, Page, and Cole. Let's see what else we got. Let's get some more comments here and see. What? Hold on. Ricky Zaldivar says, breaking news from Raj from Wrestling Inc. just tweeted that Sasha got released from WWE. What? Hold the phone, guys. Hold the phone. This is, sorry, I know this is an AEW Dynamite post show, but apparently there is breaking news regarding Sasha Banks. Give me a second while I search this up. Really quickly, is Raj the only person who has posted about this, or did somebody else post about it? 6 minutes ago, Raj Giri says, I'm hearing Sasha Banks has been released. I don't know if it's requested or if it was on WWE's end. Okay, so that's breaking news right now from Raj Giri of WrestlingInc.com, who has just posted that. Oh, shit. Okay, let me see if anybody else has posted anything. Sorry, guys. Someone says it's just Raj so far. Okay, so I'm pretty sure in the next couple of minutes, we'll probably get somebody, whether it be Sean or Dave, probably, trying to confirm that news to see if that is indeed true, or if we hear from WWE, or if we hear from Sasha Banks herself. As of right now, I'm on Sasha's page, and she hasn't tweeted anything. Really quickly, let me just check WWE really quickly. No, nothing from WWE. Okay, so as of right now, this is just something that Raj has put out, so we'll see what happens. Sorry, guys. Man, shit. Oh my God. All right. Oh, okay. Where am I at? We got a super chat. Thank you so much to JM, who says, BTW, you're welcome. Your thanks is enough. I don't have a Twitter account. Someone would have to pay me 6 figures annually to put up with that hot mess. Dude, Twitter, if you have Instagram or Facebook or something, hit me up, man. Please, because I really do want to send you some thanks. But seriously, yeah, Twitter is a hot mess. I should know, guys. I should know. I've seen it firsthand. I see it in my notifications. I see it. Thank you, Jay. All right. So I'm going to wait for, people for this news to get confirmed by somebody and see what the hell is going on. But, the Sasha Banks Naomi situation has been something that has kind of been, it's been a little quiet. since the walking out and the press release put out and just, that whole hot mess. There's just so much there to freaking unpack. But fridge. This is like, if this is true, that is freaking crazy because, Sasha Banks, she's a big freaking star, guys. She's a big freaking star. She's one of the few people that is legitimately getting like mainstream attention, doing the stuff. She did The Mandalorian. That's a huge thing within itself. So there's just a whole lot going on. My God, this day has been freaking nuts, guys. All right, so let's go ahead and move on from here, everybody, because we still got so much more to talk about. Well, we got 2 more things to talk about. So AEW Rampage for Road Rager this Friday. I will be here to talk about Road Rager and Smackdown on Fridays, as I usually am, but we are going to be getting Darby Allin versus Bobby Fish. By the way, I did like Bobby Fish's promo today where he tells Darby Allin, make sure to put your makeup on and get your nails painted and get on that silly skateboard of yours. Something like that is what he said. I liked that promo from Bobby Fish. So I think Darby and Bobby are going to have a good one. John Moxley versus Dante Martin. That one's going to be good because, Dante Martin is going to want to show out. He was going to want to be talked about. How do you get talked about? Have a good match. Have a good match with John Moxley. You will be talked about. That's for sure. TBS Championship, Jade Cargill versus Willow Nightingale. I would be surprised. It would be massive if Willow Nightingale defeated TBS, if she defeated Jade Cargill to win the championship. It would be massive because she would seriously be like over. It'd be like, oh shit, she literally beat Jade Cargill. Like, that would be huge. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm still expecting a good match, but I'm still expecting Jade Cargill to retain. And then we also got Max Caster in action. So that's where we're at on there, guys. All right. Main event time. My God, there's just been so much to talk about here. Main event time. We got the AEW World Tag Team Championships on the line, and this was Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus defending their championships against the Young Bucks. And this match within itself has kind of had a little bit of drama because last week, the match that was supposed to happen was actually supposed to be with the Hardy Boys included as well. And so, sorry guys, I was getting DMs about the Sasha Banks thing. Where was I at with this? So the Hardy Boys were supposed to be in this, and that's news within itself because for the last couple of days, what have we been talking about? We've been talking about Jeff Hardy and him getting arrested for the DUI. That was a hot mess within itself. Then there's a whole ass video on TMZ Sports that you can watch. And then there was the whole thing about him saying that he's going to get a brain scan and in 3 days. There was just a lot going on with that period. So there's just been so much surrounding all of this. But either way, this match was a banger. It was literally the best way that I can describe it. Was like we had spot here, spot there, boom there, boom here and there. There was a lot that went into this. Some of my favorite spots, I'll kind of go over a couple of the ones that I really loved. The suplex from Matt Jackson to Jungle Boy onto the ladder, that was brutal. Seeing Nick Jackson literally launch himself onto Luchasaurus to the outside immediately after that was really great. Jungle Boy doing the Hurricanrana to Matt Jackson. Nick Jackson power bombing Jungle Boy into the table. Nick Jackson hitting the Canadian Destroyer to Luchasaurus. And as I'm reading this, just know if you didn't see this match, it was like pause, move, pause. No, this was like continuous action. Nick Jackson doing the 450 splash onto Luchasaurus. Luchasaurus slamming Nick Jackson onto the ladder. Like Nick Jackson was freaking taking some bumps here tonight, as all 4 guys were. All 4 guys at the top of the ladder. We end up seeing Luchasaurus headbutting everybody, and then the Bucks end up slamming him into a ladder. And then from here, we end up seeing Luchasaurus get put through 4 tables, and this is eventually how we see the Young Bucks win the AEW Tag Team Championships once again. Now, I will tell you this. I wasn't really expecting to see Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus lose the championships today. I know a lot of people saw it coming. I personally didn't. I thought they were going to hang on just a little bit more, but I'm not against the Young Bucks winning the championship because I'm sorry. I'm a fan of the Young Bucks. Always have been. I'm a fan of what they do. So I'm pretty excited about seeing them as champions again, because I know what type of stuff that they put out there as champions, and I'm a fan of that. But what we do need to talk about too is that immediately afterwards, Christian Cage officially turned on Jungle Boy. Now, we knew this was coming. This has been teased since like the very beginning that they even started this friendship, this relationship, this mentorship between Christian Cage and Jungle Boy. We already knew this was going to happen. It was just a matter of when. Now, in terms of like it happening today in front of his family right before his birthday, good timing because it made Christian Cage look like a real asshole when he did that to Jungle Boy. He ends up, he pretends he's going to console him, but then he turns on him, he hits him with the kill switch, and then he crushes him with the concerto. So it really, really made Christian Cage into a massive, massive heel, massive jerk, all of that. It worked. I think the timing was perfect. It fell out of nowhere. So I really liked this. I was glad that Christian Cage did the turn here tonight, especially because, like we said, his birthday's tomorrow. His family's there. On top of that, he just lost the titles. Like, the world's crushing down on Jungle Boy, and now Christian Cage essentially turning on him is really the cherry on top. So I like this. Perfect timing to do this. All right, let's get some thoughts, guys. I know there's just so much to talk about. This has been an insane freaking day. We got Kyler James, who's been moderating for me here today. Thank you so much to Kyler. But he says this was also a long overdue. And this is from My Name Is Not Earl, who says, Christian deserves this. Now the Jungle Boy will become a man with his revenge. Hey, man, he's going to be 25. At what point do you become Jungle Man? I don't know how old the Young Bucks are. But yeah, that's another topic for another time of the name Young Bucks. Let's see what else we got here. We got Adam James, who says those tables were made with tape and hope. Daniel Zambrano says, I don't care about the Bucks with the belts. I do. I'm not going to lie to you. I do. I mark for the stuff that they do, guys. Call me a mark. I don't care. I'm into that stuff. Adam James says, Nick Jackson ignoring the belts in order to do cool flippy moves. We got M. Caspito, who says Luchasaurus deserves some claps for taking some vicious bumps in that ladder match. Christian, you suck. JB going to kill you. Jungle Boy. For Luchasaurus, yes. Dude, he went through 4 freaking tables, man. And on top of that, he took bumps on the freaking, not just on the tables, but also on the ladders, etc. This match was absolutely crazy. So that was good stuff there all around there. And okay, there we go, guys. Jesus Christ, there's just so much to talk about for today. The Pucky Show says that table explosions were awesome. Agreed. That was really great. J Mills 98 says Christian is just a natural heel. He did it for his peeps. I love it. I love it. Justin Martin says we all knew Christian turn was coming. It was still perfectly executed, doing it right after they lost the belts in a match. Christian put them in. Yep, that's true too. Uni Wagner says LA bias for Denise. I am super biased when it comes to Los Angeles and California, dude. But no, I really am a fan of the Young Bucks. But dude, when I saw those freaking shirts, the California, because they've been doing the California gear for since they did the Los Angeles show at Rampage and then also at Ontario. But the Young Bucks shirts with the California flags, dude, I want those. I seriously want those. Really quickly, I'm just checking a Twitter right now. There's a tweet from Sean who retweeted Rajiri. So this is an update from Sean who says, I spoke with Raj this afternoon and asked WWE about this. As of this evening, they said they hadn't heard that and Talent Relations didn't seem to know. Not saying that it didn't or isn't happening, but this is what I've heard so far when asked. He also says that Raj has good sources. So Sean, as of 4 minutes ago, has not seemed to is not confirming that Sasha Banks has been released, but he's also not doubting that this is a possibility based on what has just been tweeted right now. My God, what a freaking day, everybody. Jesus Christ. That was today's AEW Dynamite. Thank you so much for hanging in here with me today. I really appreciate and thank you guys so much for coming into the show and giving me an opportunity to come chat wrestling with you. If you were new to the show and you're like, when the hell does Denise go live? I go live on F4W Online on Tuesdays for NXT 2.0. For those of you who still care, AEW Dynamite on Wednesdays, and then Fridays, I'm here to talk SmackDown and Rampage. On top of that, I do have a busy weekend this weekend. On Saturday, I will be over at Fightful chatting about Triple Mania. They're going to be doing their second chapter, Capítulo 2, in Tijuana, so that's going to be a major event as well. So if you guys want to talk some Lucha Libre, I will be over on Fightful doing that. On top of that, on Sunday, I will be talking about Slammiversary, Impact Wrestling Slammiversary. They have a pretty damn solid card for that 20-year celebration. So much to get into with that as well. So if you want to talk Slammiversary Impact Wrestling, I'll also be over at Fightful doing that too. But I will be here Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays at F4W Online. Last but not least, youtube.com/Denise Salcedo, Twitter and Instagram @_Denise Salcedo. Thank you guys so much. Have a good day, everybody. Good night. Bye, everyone.